Welcome to the Savage Gentleman Show. I'm your main Savage, Regan Upshaw. Let's get it started, baby.
Alrighty.
Regan Upshaw, thank you so much for coming on the Savage Gentleman Show.
Thank you, brother.
26 years old, 4-0 in kickboxing. It is a real pleasure to have you on here.
I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. A couple questions for you. First off, how'd you like that experience of being on the Savage Gentleman Show and giving the breakdowns for the fights?
If I am a fighter, I'm hoping to get on the Savage Gentleman Show because you guys are the coolest vibe. They providing drinks. Don't tell nobody. They providing the vibes. And honestly, they got the best takes. These guys are so sharp. And I really do believe they are the future of coaching in MMA, of breakdowns, young killers. And so I love being on the Savage Gentleman podcast.
All right, well, I didn't tee you up for you just to give us great compliments, but I wanted to know a little bit more about you as a person. Where'd you grow up?
Well, I grew up primarily in two places, in Virginia and Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I moved to Florida when I was 14, and I lived in Virginia, and I was in Florida until I left to college, so around 18, 19.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, you come from an athletic family.
Yes, my family is pretty athletic. My dad played football professionally for 10 years. My brother played college football. I played college football. And so I would say, and when we played a lot of sports growing up, I would say football is probably the least amount of time of a sport I've played. But awesome sport. I learned a lot in it. But yeah, we're a pretty athletic family, I would say so.
So from like 1996 to 2004, your dad played for the Buccaneers, the Jaguars, the Redskins, the Raiders, and the Giants.
Yeah.
With a dad like that, how much pressure did you feel that you also had to pursue some athletic career, something to kind of like, a lot of people will feel some kind of pressure from their parents.
I would
what
say
was your experience?
I would say the pressure was not there at all. If I'm being honest, sports was so like not big in my household. My mother has never gone to any of my dad's games, has never gone to our games. My dad handled business, and so I understand sports is a great thing for life, but it was never. I never felt any expectation. In fact, there were times where we weren't even playing sports. We were always late starters in sports because, at that time in our household, that was the most important thing. So, not at all, actually.
So
no
then,
pressure.
What made you pick MMA?
So I've actually been watching MMA since I was a child. My dad would take me to the fights. We watched Pride back in the day, watched
Do
Rampage.
you remember the first fight you saw?
I remember, I don't know if it was the first fight I saw, but a memory that stuck out was when Rampage was fighting Vanderlei Silva.
Ooh.
And I remember, like, we were big fans of Rampage.
Of course.
And he lost that fight, but that was the first core memory of fighting, I would say, that was stuck in my head. But it's always been in the background of my life since I was 3, 4, and 5 years old on up. So fighting has been something that I always wanted to do. I actually wanted to do it when I was younger, as a kid. And my parents, not every parent wants to let their kid do that. I get it. But, now I've got the opportunity to, and I'm going full speed with it.
So what's the first fight you got into?
In school.
And did you win?
Absolutely. I wasn't someone that ever was starting problems. I'm a viber at heart, but I'm with it. And I remember the first fight. I whooped the kid's ass. I think it was like kindergarten. I whooped the kid's ass in kindergarten, and then they called my parents and made a big deal. And then my parents were all happy. My dad was all happy, and it was no problem. Like I said, fighting was supported in my household. And I'm not a bully. I don't think bullying was never supported. But if you want smoke, let's get some smoke. Let's see. Let's see.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. You might be an intimidating figure for someone walking up to you, but you have a really warm, kind spirit. I remember the first time I met you, instantly engaging, really kind-hearted, really interested in people.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it's really nice because it's so easy to misjudge people.
Absolutely.
By what they look like. I was wondering, I hear you talk a lot about destiny.
Uh-huh.
What are your thoughts on it, and how does it work?
I think we all have the power to visualize and manifest what we want in life. I truly believe that. I've seen it a lot in my own life. So I don't need, the world. I don't need a book. I don't need someone to tell me. I've seen me have a belief when odds were very impossible, And I wake up in a year and my life is in the exact spot in a very improbable, impossible situation. And it's happened over and over and over again. So I feel, honestly, it just gives me confidence to believe in myself and believe, hey, I can, whatever I want to do, I can do. I can accomplish. If I put the work in, if I dedicate my mind, if I believe, if I meditate, if I work and I show up, I can do whatever I want to do. And I don't have no limits from the world on me. I'm free. And another thing, I'm not scared to fail. I have failed in life. I have been knocked down. And guess what? I've stood up every time with no support. And guess what? That is built when you stand up and you keep going. And I hope that's something that people don't get confused about me. I'm a champion because I keep standing up. And guess what? I'm going to get everything I want in life because I have no fear. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of what people will say. That's why when I go in that cage, I'm free. I'm free.
Dude, that's beautiful. Talk to me more about this champion mindset. I hear this from a lot of people, but I don't think everyone believes it as much as you do.
Yeah, and you know
More
what?
practices it.
Okay. I think champion mindset is there's no one else. It's you. There is no competition. There is no other fighter. It is your preparation versus yourself versus your discipline versus can I be better than yesterday, as well as having confidence in your beliefs. And that's what, in my mind, makes me a champion. I've won my whole life in different sports, on the lowest level, on the highest level, and I'll continue to win because I understand the recipe. There is a recipe to winning. And it's not about talent. It's not about a lot of things. A lot of it is confidence, belief, and work. And it's a very simple recipe, but it's hard to uphold, to continue to be disciplined to that. You know, life is life, you know, but that's what I would say. What makes you a champion? Being consistent in your belief and putting the work in.
And you do a lot of meditation?
I meditate every day. I work on my breathing every day. The first thing I do before I do anything is wake up, doing my breathing exercises. I visualize what I want to accomplish in the future. I see it, and I start my day. And it honestly gives me so much peace going into the day, you know?
To switch subjects a little bit, do you carefully monitor your diet? Or are you just too young, fit, black, and handsome to have to worry about that yet?
Some things are genetics, fam. I'm just joking. No, I definitely monitor my diet, man. I'm really a 250-pound dude. You know, if I don't, 185 for MMA and 195 for kickboxing. So I would say I definitely monitor my diet. I'm one of those guys that when it's time to work, it's time to work. When it's time to play, it's time to play. I don't believe in not having fun now. You know, and if anybody knows me, they know that. I believe in having fun. I honestly think having fun, being free, not making this a pressurized job. You live in the moments of pressure. In the moments of pressure and adversity, you result back to what you are. And so I live free in life. I have fun. I work hard, and that translates into the cage. You know?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Speaking of fun, what are some of your hobbies that might surprise people to learn that you're into?
Ooh, you know, the common ones. I like to hang out with my family, my friends. I like to turn up. If you don't know about that, I do like to turn up. I'm a big fan of mushrooms, and I'm the biggest proponent of mushrooms. Everybody knows me. I'm gonna push that to the end of me. So mushrooms are my hobby. But honestly, traveling, fishing, just vibing, having fun. You know, I'm one of those guys that wants to try new things, learn, travel the world. But that's another thing I want to do in the future is do a lot more traveling. And you know, I just started a media page where I think it's really awesome. I'm tapping into my artistic side, tapping into capturing other fighters and their journeys, capturing my own journey. It's called Create Waves Media. Create Waves Media. I just came up with it today. And yeah, I'm starting to film the community, and I think that's really one of my passions is telling stories. I want to tell my own story and tell all these other warriors' journeys as well.
So going back to kind of your childhood, you lived in these different places. How'd you end up in Colorado? And does Colorado feel like home, or do you think you're going to move on from here as well?
Okay, so how I ended up in Colorado is, like I said, I believe, my coach used to say something about God winks. You know, everyone, whether you're religious or not, everyone gets opportunities that show themselves in life, windows, and you can take them or you can let it pass. And 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 it's not individual to myself, it's everyone. And so I remember in college we had a thing where we did words for the year. What's your word? And I was at kind of a rough point in my life. I didn't really have direction before I started MMA. I finished college, and like most athletes out of college, you may feel a little lost, a lost period. And so I remember being like, my word for the year is to elevate my life. Elevate was my word for the year. And I remember I was watching UFC, and I was watching coaches. I was watching videos. If I had just the UFC event just happened, I was watching highlights of teams. I was kind of motivated in the moment, and I saw this team that had all these killers in it, and I was like, "Where is this?" And I was watching the video, and in the back it said "Team Elevation," and I said,
"Elevate,"
and I said that was my word, and I said I'm going for that. So I moved to Colorado. It worked out, and I said I'm going full speed. I committed to this is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to half step it. I want to be a champion. I want to be a fighter. I want to be an entertainer. I want to put on shows. That's my natural talent. Let's rock. And so that was my word for the year, and I committed.
It's amazing.
And it's worked out.
Speaking of being an entertainer, you've been hunting for the KO since you started fighting.
Absolutely.
So how good did it feel to get that in your last fight?
It felt great, and I understood something, right? It's funny, one of my first fights, I felt the freest. I didn't have many coaches. I walked in there with my own prep, and I was doing showman shit that is, you can't train, just off the muscle, right? And then as you gain techniques and skill, I had to find a balance between being more reserved and learning those skills, but also being an animal. So I think that I'm a sports car. I really do believe this in this game. And so it's like learning how to drive. Like, okay, the KO's always been there for all these fights, but I've been reserved to a game plan. And I realized, I'm very new in the game, right? But the KOs will always be there for me now. Something clicked in this fight, knowing like, oh, I can just go knock him out. Like, okay, technique this. This is the game plan. Okay, the kill will be there, and I will finish. I'll finish so many opponents. And I just clicked. Every fight, something clicks, a level. Like, okay. And to be honest with you, every fight, the KO's been there. And I realized not to get the KO, you don't just have to be on the gas pedal the whole time. You can set it up. And, every fight's different, so I'm not going to give too much away. But, yes, there will be more KOs, and something clicked this last fight for sure.
I think people have always been aware of your hands, but what's been the change in your low and high kicks? We've seen this kicking arsenal, especially in the last two fights. It's unreal.
Yes, sir.
To the body, to the legs, low kick, middle kick. It's incredible.
Yes,
Who
sir.
do you credit that to?
You know what? I credit it to a lot of people. I credit to the Savage Gentleman. I credit it to Pound for Pound. I think we drill a lot of techniques that fit with my style, which is walk you down, violent style, a Dutch kickboxing kind of vibe, and a high conditioning, high pace. And when you have that confidence in that conditioning, and as well as those drills where you just repping kicks and punch combinations, when you get in that cage, that's what's going to come out. You whatever you practice, like I said, under pressure, that's what's going to come out. So I give a lot of credit to Pound for Pound. J-Ho, awesome coach, has been nothing but cool with me since I got there, has offered me a lot of tips and techniques. Awesome vibe at Pound for Pound.
Do you have any superstitions before a fight?
Absolutely not. There are no superstitions. I get myself into the mindset where I don't care who's here. I don't care if I have coaches in my corner. I don't care if I'm in there alone. I'm prepared to walk in there alone and do what has to be done. And that's the mindset I get into that fight. I'm not worried about the time. I'm not worried about the ref. I switch into a part of myself. I wouldn't say something else. A part of myself that I can't be in regular day life. It's not healthy. That week leading up to the fight, I start switching and letting him take the forefront. And I'm in there to kill. I'm in there to put you away in a violent fashion. And it's a bad mind, it's a bad man in there.
Well, we're here for it.
Yeah.
What about New Year resolutions?
What I feel about New Year's resolutions? I think creating new goals is always positive. upgrading in life, switching goals. Listen, you don't have to stay in the same lane. Sometimes a goal you have leads you to a bigger purpose. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I could want to be the biggest fighter in the world, and it leads me to my bigger purpose. I'm always leveling up. But I do know right now, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is the life I'm supposed to be living, and I'll have the biggest impact.
Yeah.
You know?
That must give you a lot of confidence knowing that you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely.
I'd be curious to know, since you're such a goal-oriented person, what do you have planned for the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, you know what? First, I'm a goal-oriented person, but I am a person that lives in the moment, and I think that's why I can be free. You know, I know there's uncontrollables. I've already done a journey where I had so many plans, and guess what? You know, life is life. But my goal now is to commit to being the best fighter I can be, the best warrior I can be. And if I commit to that, there's no limit for me in this game. I'm fighting against top competition, against the level I'm trying to get to. I'm fighting against that every day. And I'm very confident in what I'll achieve. I think if I focus in the moment, focus on staying disciplined and being around the right people, the result of that will be I'll be a champion. And I have no doubt about that. You know,
I completely agree. What about children? What about family?
I'll
How do you
definitely
see that in your future, and what would be the perfect number?
You know, I don't know about the perfect number, but I definitely want a family, at least two. I think I love being around kids. I think kids are pure spirit, and they give me life. Just seeing, and I love coaching kids. Kids are awesome to work with. I love that you still got that fun youth, you know, and they're funny too. They can be some little shit sometimes, and it's hilarious. I love coaching and working with kids, and I think I love being a dad, honestly, when that time comes.
Yeah.
You know?
Listen, I don't want you to stop doing MMA, but if the time ever came, motivational speaker should definitely be on your to-do
It's a
list.
transition, y'all. That's where the real bag's at. For
Well,
sure.
listen, man, we're so happy to have you on.
Thank
You
you.
bring so much good energy and so much detail and attention to everything you've been through. I like to ask this question before I let my interviewees go.
Okay.
And that is, what's the last experience you had where you had someone else show you kindness and it really humbled you?
Well, that's a good one. That's a good one that really humbled me. I think, honestly, and it brings me... I've had so many, but Rich, my head coach, is one of those guys that's really changed my life. And it's not even about the level of coaching. It's not about anything. It's just he's there for you. He's there for his fighters. And he's a great friend. He's a great a person. And it sometimes has brought me to tears. Like, I'm so grateful for this dude. I'm so grateful for this dude because I've been lost at times. I'm a wild boy. You know, at the end of the day, you don't wake up and become a violent savage in the cage.
Correct.
You don't just wake up. I'm not switching into anything. That's me. And if anything, I'm switching into being a civil human. You see what I'm saying? I'm switching into that. So that's why I'm free, because I take everything off and I'm Regan. And so not everybody's met Regan. You see what I'm saying? But what I love about Rich is Rich loves me for me. He supports me. And that's what also lets me be free. So my coach is one of the best people I met in my life. I'm so grateful. I played a lot of sports. If anything, when you're a talented dude, in anything, whatever, you look a certain way, you got skill, you know, that comes with a lot of haterade, either from coaches, because you had more than they, whether from players, it comes with hate. When you're free, people don't like that. People don't like when you know who you are. They want you to look down on yourself, right? Rich has done nothing but pump me up and be like, you are that dude. And I'm going to go to the top with that dude. I'm going to ride to the end with that dude, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate you sharing.
I appreciate you.
And listen, we can't wait to have you back. Be sure to let us know when you have your next fight booked.
For sure.
We'll be there. We can't wait to see it.
For sure.
Thank you so much for coming on the Savage
shout
Regan
outs,
Show.
anybody you wanna
Yeah,
talk
and
about
please,
social
anything
media?
you want to plug, your Instagram.
Okay.
I know you plugged your page earlier.
Oh, yeah, we'll get it.
Anything else?
Yes.
Feel free to spit it out.
So it's Create Waves Media. That's the page and also it's Regan Upshaw _. That's my Instagram. Those are both my Instagram pages. I'll be making content. I'll be making my content, doing interviews, showing
Check
other
out his
fighters'
shorts. They're really good.
Come on, check out my shorts, y'all. Savagery. You know what I mean? It's cool vibes. I want to give a shout out to the Savage gentlemen. These guys have cut weight with me. These guys have been. There's no better game plan you can go into the fight than these guys. You are so free. It's almost like I have to do no thinking. Even in my last fight, I literally just. There was moments in there I was like, these are the exact drills we've been drilling. They can break down an opponent so well, and if you just trust the process and of course be free, you're gonna be very happy with yourself. And so I want to shout out them, and I mean that. They've been with me from the get. Always dope vibes, you know, cool ass brothers. And you know, I want to shout, like I said, shout out my family, shout out Rich, shout out Havoc MMA. That's the new wave coming up. A lot of young dragons, as we would say, and you will see in the future. And in the reality, you know, I want to shout out myself, man, for believing in myself, jumping into a new sport, new place, and going and getting it undefeated. And I am the future of MMA. And I'm gonna have the most knockout. I'm gonna have some of the most violent knockouts y'all have seen. I'm gonna sell out arenas. I'm gonna have the highest pay-per-view. Watch it happen. I am the champion now.
Regan Upshaw, I believe everything you say. Can't wait to see what the future holds.
Yes,
Thanks
indeed.
for coming on.
Thank you guys.
Oh, man, that was awesome.